We finally got more details on Bungie's marathon, not a reboot. We may have information on the Switch 2 pre-orders for North America, and a bunch of other small updates coming down the line, including a remake for a game that we've all loved and enjoyed and would love to see remade. Looks like it's happening as soon as next week. But let's get into the game news. Welcome back, everybody. Good to see you in chat. We're live on Twitch when we make this, and then it's edited and posted to YouTube. So if you're watching live, thanks for being here. If you're watching this on YouTube, also thanks for being here. But let's jump in with our first story of the night, day, wherever you're watching this. PlayStation Plus got a catalog update last week for, I guess this is their April update. We got Hogwarts Legacy, Blueprints, Battlefield 1, Played Up, PGA Tour, Road to the Masters, and Lost Records going into PlayStation Plus. Some of these are extra and premium. Blueprints is also on Game Pass. Apparently it's really good. I do want to check it out. It looks really neat. Yeah, pretty solid month. Battlefield 1's story mode's really cool. I like the way it's told. Plate Up, I've watched a lot of gameplay of it. It's pretty awesome as well. PlayStation Plus Premium, Alone in the Dark 2, War of the Monsters. If you're fans of those games, I've never gotten into either of those. But hey, you know what? Some solid additions, some really good games to pick up at no additional charge. So cool. Looks like a solid month for PS Plus, which is always great to see. All right, let's go to our next topic then. Possibly, maybe not. Try now. There we go. No thanks. I don't want Copilot. Go away. All right. Xbox Game Pass also has their Wave 2 update, so the second half of the month. We've got Towerborn, Expedition 33, Modern Warfare 2, Grand Theft Auto 5 hitting Ultimate PC and console. With the PC version, it is also the Enhanced Edition, meaning I don't really know what, but I saw a write-up about that as well. Crime Scene Cleaner, Dredge, Tim Popo, Far Cry 4, Anno 1800, Patrick Star, SpongeBob Game, and Neon White. So yeah, GTA 5 is like the biggest thing for this month. Although I think Expedition 33 looks really good. Xbox has had a lot of coverage of this game in their directs and other things, and so I do want to check it out. It looks very interesting. Towerborn in-game preview looks cool. Modern Warfare 2, I was gonna pick this up because this, I like the OG Modern Warfare 2, but then I passed on it. Namely because I tried playing Warzone and fell out of it really quick. A couple of other things. Warzone Game Pass Pack 1 is available via perks. Naraka Blade Point also has another set of perks. Stumble Guys. And then games going out at the end of this month, April 30th. Have a Nice Death, Kona 2, Sniper Elite 5, Last Case of Benedict Fox, Thirsty Suitors, and The Rewinder. So if you haven't played those or you wanted to purchase them, you got to do it before the end of the month. But again, solid month in game services updates. Good to see some new stuff coming. Also, some bigger, older games. I mean, GTA hitting Game Pass is pretty big to get everybody hyped up for GTA 6 this year. Everybody still hoping for that? I don't know. All right, let's move on. Okay. Switch 2 pre-orders could open as soon as April 21st, according to a new leak. The Switch 2 releases June 5th, but we're still waiting for Nintendo to officially confirm a new pre-order date, following a delay in the US and Canada. This is from GameSpot, Stephen Petit. While Nintendo fans continue to wait for official news on Switch 2 pre-orders in the US, a new report from a prominent leaker posted on April 15th suggests that pre-orders could begin as early as April 21st in the US. The leaker, Bill Kuhn, initially reported that pre-orders in Canada appeared set to open on April 23rd, according to information gathered from retailers. As for pre-orders in the US, Bill Kuhn uncovered information from retailers that pointed to April 21st or April 30th. Very interesting. At this point, the main detail to glean from these leaks is that the retailers expect pre-orders to open before the end of the month. Whether it happens on one of those dates or a different day is really anyone's guess until Nintendo actually announces a new Switch 2 pre-order date. What we do know is that the Switch 2's global release date is still slated for June 5th. Which, I mean, they're not moving the release date around is reassuring, but the fact that we still can't pre-order or we don't know how the tariffs are affecting things, I assume this article is going to cover this in just a moment. But we don't know, and so what we don't know is kind of the problem here. Nintendo has not revealed any new details on the timing of U.S. pre-orders since it issued a statement on April 4th delaying the opening date in the US from the originally scheduled April 9th start. A few days later, Nintendo announced pre-orders would also be delayed in Canada. Switch2 pre-orders still opened in other countries, including the UK, on April 9th. So for, about a week, the rest of the world seems to have been able to pre-order the Switch 2. At the time of this recording, by the time they go live here in the States, it'll have been 2 weeks. Not that that affects global supply, but it's going to be interesting to see what the North American supply chain or supply of Switch 2s looks like. When pre-orders do eventually go live in the US, the Switch 2 will be available on its own or in a bundle with Mario Kart World. It's unclear if the console and or the bundle will receive price increases. Nintendo originally announced that the console would cost $450 on its own and $500 Mario Kart World in the United States. Both options will likely be hot commodities. Pre-orders from Amazon UK for the console and Mario Kart bundle sold out within hours. Despite the uncertainties surrounding pre-orders, major retailers have retained store pages for the Switch 2 console as well as first-party accessories and games. First-party games and other Switch 2 exclusives will be available to order in the US when console pre-orders open. Select third-party multi-platform Switch 2 games are already up for pre-order though, including Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion. GameSpot's Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order guide will continue to evolve as more more product listings pop up and Nintendo reveals its revised plan for North American pre-orders, in addition to the 2 Switch 2 console options. You'll find all the first-party accessories along with pricing details and pre-order availability for the upcoming Switch 2 games arriving on launch day and beyond. So, we don't know. We just know what we'll probably be able to get. Don't know if the price is going up, and we really don't have a concrete release date, and we really can't rely on anything. If it is next week, April 21st or 23rd, Nintendo's got to officially announce that. They'll probably give us, maybe Thursday. Sometimes they announce stuff on Wednesdays. I don't know. Nintendo doesn't play by anybody's rules but their own. So they could announce it on the 20th at like 11:59 p.m. and be like, pre-orders open tomorrow, and then 60 seconds later, pre-orders suddenly open up. Like, it could be that insane. We don't know. But with that, I'm just hanging on. We're just kind of on Mr. Nintendo's wild ride, as it were, for this one. We don't know if they're gonna up the price. We don't know really anything else, and they've been kind of tight-lipped on it. Maybe because they don't know yet, which is realistic. Like, I'm sure they have a strategy, they have a plan now. We're just waiting, and everybody's leaking. Everybody's chomping at the bit for news. I'm one of them. I'm checking daily to see what we can find out, and so this is where we are, leaks and such. All right, let's move on. Speaking of tariffs and things, PlayStation 5 gets a price increase in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, and Sony blames the economy. This is according to TechSpot, or this is from TechSpot, this write-up. Sean Knight. So in a nutshell, Sony has increased the price of its original PlayStation 5 console in several regions, citing a challenging economic environment that includes both high inflation and fluctuating exchange rates. Aren't prices for aging consoles supposed to go down over time, not up? Tell that to the retro market, then. In Europe, the PS5 Digital Edition now carries a recommended retail price of €499. That's up from the previous rate of €449.99, and the €399 launch price when the system debuted a little over 4 years ago. In the UK, you'll now pay $429.99 for a PS5 Digital Edition, previously $389.99. The PS5 with the disc drive will retain its existing price point in these regions, Sony said. In Australia and New Zealand, however, both PS5 with disc drive and digital editions are now more expensive. In Australia, it's now $829.95 Australian dollars for the drive version, or $749.95 for the digital variant. New Zealanders will pay New Zealand dollars $949 for a model with a disc drive, or New Zealand dollars $859 for a PS5 digital. That's insane. I don't know the conversion rates there. to US currency. So I know things are more expensive in Australia and New Zealand. And every time stuff's priced according to New Zealand dollars, it's always like ridiculously higher looking, but I don't know what the exchange rate is to make that make sense. And so I'm at a loss for how that works. But that bothers me that's this close to $1,000, right? This console launched at $500, and I assume in New Zealand it was like 6 or 7 in New Zealand dollars. I don't know. You guys could tell me. Historically, console prices decrease as a system ages, and especially after slim models or mid-cycle variants are released. Sony has bucked that trend with the PS5, and this isn't the first time they've increased the console's cost. In the summer of 22, Sony raised the price of the PS5 in several regions outside of the USA. Outside of the US, a challenging global economic environment was cited as the reason for that hike. In fairness, the industry was also just coming out of the chip shortage brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic just a few years earlier. Hopefully YouTube is not still censoring the phrase COVID-19, because now I've said it twice. The fact that Sony is leaving PS5 Pro pricing alone for now could suggest the company wants to steer buyers toward its more expensive option, although some will argue that the Pro is already overpriced as it is. I agree with that. I think the Pro is pretty fair, unfairly priced, but Sony's going to Sony, right? They've decided that's the fair market value. For now, PS5 pricing in the US remains unchanged, but will it last? Serkan Toto, CEO of Tokyo-based games consultancy Content Games, told CNBC he would be surprised if Sony was able to keep PlayStation prices in the US stable in the US. Now is the right time for the company to hike prices because user backlash would be comparably limited. Fair enough. It still stinks. If you're in any of those affected regions, secondhand might be the way to go at this point. I don't know what your options are, and I hate it. This whole economic situation is frustrating. But hey, maybe there's hope on the horizon. I don't know. Let's move on to our next topic before this gets too depressing for people. Okay, I thought this was cool. Zelda's Switch 2 ports finally let you repair equipment via mobile app bonus. Zelda Notes is a mobile app that will connect to the Switch 2 editions. So this is on VGC. Andy Robinson reports. The Switch 2's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom ports look set to fix one of the two game's most divisive features via its mobile app connectivity. As part of its big Switch 2 reveal earlier this month, Nintendo announced that Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild will get Switch 2 editions, as well as a new app, Zelda Notes, which will be part of the Nintendo app. Previously, the Nintendo Switch app, or Nintendo Switch Online, whatever they called it. The app will allow players to navigate and leave notes on an interactive game map, share creations in Tears of the Kingdom, unlock achievements, and more. The Zelda Notes app also allows Switch 2 players to roll a random daily bonus, which can be stored and used in-game. This includes generic items like meals and health boosts, but as spotted by Zeltic, one of the rewards is equipment repairs. Item decay is one of the most divisive features in the two Switch Zelda games, with all but few weapons decaying the more they're used, forcing players to seek different options. Tears of the Kingdom did introduce an obscure trick by which players could trick an enemy into repairing some items, but this method is limited and can't be used on all weapons. Since item decay is a core feature of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, introducing repairs has the potential to significantly alter the game balance. However, it's worth noting that the repair bonus is rewarded randomly and can only be rolled once every 24 hours. Switch 2 Edition upgrades for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will be included for Switch Online Plus expansion pack members as part of the subscription, or can be purchased separately for those not on that subscription tier. Both games upgrades will include improved resolution, frame rates, HDR, yada yada yada. We've gone through most of these details before, but hey, that's cool. Added functionality, daily bonus, item repair. It sounds like it's a random item repair, so that's kind of weird, but okay. Still, I guess if you dropped everything, left an item in your inventory to be repaired, rolled your repair, because it sounds like it's a separate thing, then it would be guaranteed to be repaired. Like, well, what else would it pick? Now, that's very complicated. Are you going to do that? Probably not. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see how this works. The Zelda Notes app seems like they put a lot of thought into it. It would have been nice to have this as a Switch 1 feature. But hey, you know what? I might check it out for more than a little bit. I don't know. I definitely want to see how these games perform on the Switch 2. and I want to see what this app is really offering, just in person. Because describing it in text is fine. I get a feel for how it works, but maybe seeing how it affects the gameplay would be fun. But speaking of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom, we finally got some clarity on Breath of the Wild in our next topic. Nintendo confirms $90 price for full Breath of the Wild experience on Switch 2. This is from Tweaktown. Jack Connor writes, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for Switch 2 costs $70, with an additional $20 for the DLC, totaling $90. Existing owners can upgrade the Switch 2 to the Switch 2 version for $10, gaining better frame rates, higher resolutions, and HDR support. The DLC is not included in the initial purchase. And I think that summarizes it nicely. Okay, so I think a lot of people expect when we get a port of an older game to newer hardware, it includes the DLC. But everybody seems to forget we're dealing with Nintendo here, who's going to choose to do things their own way, and their own timing, and with their own little gotchas and loopholes. And this is just one of those things. They never stated that this was like a definitive edition or complete edition or game of the year. Like, none of that. It's Zelda Breath of the Wild, Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And that's it. Like, well, we shouldn't expect the DLC to be included. Nintendo's going to let you choose to do that if you want. I will say, why it's being spun to be, hey, the game costs $90 total, when it should be, hey, you probably already own this game on the Switch 1. When you play it on the Switch 2, it's $10 for the upgrade. That is what most people are going to be doing. That's what most people are going to be doing. I don't know why people set their expectations. Nintendo never or rarely includes the extra things in the game. Look at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The only thing it had was that first round of DLC, and that was it. The Booster Course Pass was later, and then they eventually had the bundle. Eventually, I think with Zelda, how do they tell you $20 of DLC and still make money off of it? I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. Do I like it? No. But most of us have the Switch version of Breath of the Wild. We're not buying the Switch 2 edition brand new. We're upgrading our existing ones. People are upset about it. I find that strange. Like, how did you not already have Breath of the Wild? For new people, hey, you're paying as much as I paid. Like, at that point, like, I bought the game full price new, bought the DLC full price. Gonna get the $10. Well, actually, I won't even pay for the Switch 2 edition upgrade because it's included with the Switch Online membership. Why no DLC included Breath of the Wild, Tricky? Because Nintendo just says no. The $20 DLC is so bad. I don't know. I think it was fun. It added a lot that I messed with. But I guess that's the thing. It's a $20 DLC that, isn't necessary for the base game or story. And that's what Nintendo wants you to experience. They want you to experience the full story and not... They don't care about the extra stuff. All the extra stuff was just fun, added on content, and that's how it was billed. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it sucks, I guess, if you haven't bought Breath of the Wild, but go buy it used and then upgrade for $10 and buy the DLC. It's not a big deal, is it? Is it a big deal to have to buy the DLC for $20 ever? That's up to you to decide. Watch them pull out a $40 Zelda DLC for Tears of the Kingdom. They said no. They already said no. No DLC is planned for Tears of the Kingdom. So I think they're done with it. I think they made that game. I think Tears of the Kingdom was a DLC for Breath of the Wild that turned into its own game, and it's really hard to convince me otherwise. Anyway, let's move on to our next topic. All right, this is kind of cool. Spyro and Crash Bandicoot reboot studio Toys for Bob wants to bring back Banjo-Kazooie next. I think we can all agree Banjo's been hibernating long enough, right? Toys for Bob co-studio head and creative director Paul Yan said. This is on GameSpot. Jessica Cogswell wrote, "No one's doing more for mascot platformers than Toys for Bob. Since 2018, the formerly Microsoft-owned studio has released the Spyro Reignited trilogy, Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, Crash Bandicoot 4, Crash Team Rumble, reinvigorating two beloved but largely stagnant franchises. Now, Toys for Bob co-studio head and creative director Paul Yan says the studio has its eyes on another iconic platforming series Banjo-Kazooie. People have been saying since Toys for Bob since the Activision deal, people have been saying Toys for Bob should make Banjo because they've done so well with Crash and Spyro. So them finally owning up to it after they kind of spun off and got to be independent from Microsoft. I think they have a good enough relationship to come in and go, hey, let's do this. Hopefully they bring something new to the table. In a recent interview with Canadian Gaia, which was then reported by Windows Central, Yan discussed Toys for Bob's upcoming projects. One, on top of seemingly teasing a new entry in the Spyro the Dragon series, Yan expressed the team's desire to work with Xbox on bringing back the dynamic bird and bear duo Banjo-Kazooie. One company we'd like to work with is one we're already working with, Team Xbox. They've been a great partner, and they also have a very interesting roster of characters that Toys for Bob could have a lot of fun with. The honey bear is the first one that comes to mind. I think we can all agree Banjo's been hibernating, for long enough, right? As we read earlier. Though this certainly doesn't mean a Banjo-Kazooie remake or reboot is already in the works, Toys for Bob's past work and relationship with Xbox makes this collaboration seem more like a matter of when than if. Despite the studio breaking apart from Microsoft-owned studio Activision back in 2023, it has continued to work closely with Xbox and is currently collaborating with the company on an upcoming project that many speculate to be Spyro the Dragon 4. Though Yan said he can't spill the beans just yet on the upcoming project, he assured fans that development is going well. I will say we're very much in the thick of development. The team is very thrilled about how the experience is shaping up. The game is big and ambitious and pushes our craft to new heights. Prior to leaving Activision, Toys for Bob had been moved from working on whimsical platformers it's known for to assist Call of Duty series as a support studio. Yuck. According to a former senior concept artist, Nicholas Cole, the team was also forced to scrap Crash Bandicoot 5 after 86 employees were laid off from the studio as part of Microsoft's 2023 mass layoffs. The studio sought and was given independence. So this is something we've been saying, like Toys for Bob should make the next Banjo. They would be good at it. It's news because somebody from the company actually acknowledges it. Hopefully this is what they're going to be working on next. If they're making Spyro 4, awesome. More love for Spyro. But I would hope that Banjo is going to get some kind of remaster love like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot have seen. I think it would be great to just make existing Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie look like Smash Bros. Ultimate made Banjo look. I think at least that, bringing it up to the modern visuals, would go a long way in reigniting interest in the series. And then a new entry would be fantastic because Nuts and Bolts exists and we need to rectify that. Anyway, let's move on to our next topic. I think it's cool though. I do think it's cool. All right, big story for this week. Marathon, everything we know so far. So Bungie finally pulled the lid back on details for Marathon. It's coming out September 2025. This recap is on Games Radar from Josh West. All the stories are linked in the description if you're watching on YouTube after the fact. So you can definitely check it out there. Let's read a little bit. I don't know if I'll go into super details on this, but extraction shooter reboot Marathon has a confirmed release date for later in 25. The new game from Destiny 2 developer Bungie promises razor-sharp PvP action to rival the best FPS games out there, and according to our Marathon hands-on preview, it could well be the most polished game of its genre yet. One note, though, the Marathon reboot is not free to play, meaning you won't see it added to our list of free PS5 games anytime soon. It's taken a while for Bungie to get here, but the Marathon reboot has been one of the new games for 2025 we've been eyeing up for years. The game was unveiled in 23 following PlayStation Studios' acquisition of the developer, which propelled its looter shooter offering to the top of our upcoming PS5 games list. We might have loved the latest Destiny 2 expansion, but Marathon looks set to target a very different, broader audience with its live service PvP framework. With a closed Marathon 2025 alpha playtest coming on April 23rd, we'll soon have more info to work with. If you're looking for the Marathon 2025 release date, gameplay details, and other key facts, okay, we're gonna scroll down and read some of this. So the release date, September 23rd, 25. which is cool. That's this year. It's finally coming. Marathon platforms, PC, PS5, and Series X. Cool. It's not an exclusive. It's multi-platform. Awesome. The Marathon developer is Bungie. Is Marathon a sequel? It's in the same universe. Marathon gameplay. It's a first-person shooter. Multiplayer only. Not feature a single-player campaign. Bungie is building Marathon with the PvP experience as their foundation. Although game director Chris Barrett says that narrative is still a key pillar to the experience beyond the story-driven stories that extraction shooters are so adept at generating. The heart of Marathon's gameplay experiences is PvP, but it isn't the entire story. We're building a rich, immersive world. They'll have ample opportunities for exploration and conflict, both against other players and AI-controlled enemies. Sounds fun. Marathon setting. Little is known about the new Marathon game setting right now, particularly as it's separate, although within the same universe, from the original Marathon games. Here's what we do know. The new Marathon game will take place on the mysterious planet of Tau Ceti 4. Cool. I am glad we have some details on Marathon. I was wondering when we were going to see more on this project, and here we are. I find it very wild that a PvP extraction shooter, first-person shooter, would launch as a premium title and not a free-to-play title, just because of the environment we're in, where games like Overwatch and Fortnite and Apex Legends and so on and so forth are free-to-play and continue to at least survive with the player count that they currently have. Fortnite seems to be doing the best it's ever done because of how it's built. And releasing a paid-for shooter is a bold move in the wake of games like Concord, which also comes from Sony-owned studios. So you can't help but draw up the comparisons and be concerned that asking money of any amount up front is a big risk. But maybe the Bungie pedigree will shine through here. What we've seen in these screenshots, I like the art style for the most part. I like what, some of the details we've seen. The big reveal was very cool to just finally show us what to expect from this. So I'm hopeful but cautious. I do want to check it out. I don't know if I'll pick it up though. I got to be realistic. There's tons of other games to play. I don't need to add more to the backlog, especially something that's going to ask for my time and my money. Oh, excuse me. Time and my money. Anyway, but cool. Glad to see details on it. Best of luck to the studio. Can't wait to see more. Hopefully the alpha gives us more details publicly and we get to learn a lot then. All right, let's move on. All right, this is our last story, I believe, but Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered screens and details have leaked. Game is reportedly set for release this month. We've heard rumors and rumblings of this game off and on over the last, what feels like 2 years, and now we're on the, crux of the release, apparently. This comes from VGC's Jordan Midler, posted this. Images, which include screenshots comparing the original game to the remaster as well as promotional art for the game, are circulating on social media after a leak from a Virtuos website. First found on Reset Era. The images show off comparison images from the original game and the new remaster. According to the website, the game will be titled Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, is being developed in collaboration with Bethesda. Bethesda Dallas and Bethesda Rockville are working on the game alongside Virtuos. Oblivion Remastered will release for PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5, according to the site. And we have the screenshots here, so I will just jump over there. It's the promo art, looking pretty sick. And then we've got the OG and then the remastered look, which I gotta say, it's looking good. I would expect nothing less from a game that's like, hey, we remastered and upgraded a Xbox 360 launch title. So I think these screenshots look awesome. It sucks that they leaked and we couldn't get a surprise drop, but here we are. And that does it for the game news, everybody. That's all I got time for. So crazy to think that the Oblivion Remaster is just going to shadow drop next week. But we've been talking about it for years now. I feel like everybody wanted it. It's not Skyrim, so there's that. But I can't wait to check it out. I'm hoping to see it soon. We'll find out next week, I suppose, whether or not it launches. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously this is a VOD, not live. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think down below about any of these topics. Are you worried about the Switch 2 pre-order price or release date at all? PS5 price hike, does it affect you? Doesn't affect me yet, but who knows in this current situation. And then are you getting Oblivion Remastered? I'll definitely check it out on GamePass, that's for sure. And with that, I'll leave you guys. Love ya. Thanks for watching. See ya on a live stream.